You had a great post on X. Let me show it here. Breaking down 8 reasons why you are bullish on Rivian. And I thought this would be good to break down and test your memory of
I was
why
gonna
you
read
are
some
so
of
bullish on Rivian.
I probably won't say them in the right order, but if you scroll
Mhm.
up, I'll try to sort of like touch on each one of them. Keep it on the screen so that I can.
Yeah.
But okay, so I love companies that have products that their customers love, right? Like their customers have cult-like following. This would be ideal, like right. So Apple, for example, would be one of those companies where its customers have cult-like following. You know, um, all the way from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, whether it was the original Mac, or even the Apple II, all the way to the iMacs and then the iPod, then iPhone. Their customers just absolutely love Apple. They would never go with something else. Cult-like following. Similarly, Tesla has had, especially up until a few years ago, cult-like following by its customers, where they just never thought they would buy another car besides a Tesla. So these type of companies, is especially consumer type of companies, I think are fantastic potential investments. Amazon is starting to have cult-like following, and not starting to, but has had it. So that if, for example, something is sold on Amazon, as a customer of Amazon, I'm way more likely to buy it from Amazon than from anywhere else, because I know that I can get it shipped fast. I can, like, there's all these things that come with being a customer of theirs. Similarly, Rivian has a cult-like following, but with its existing customer base. In fact, um, it has the number one highest customer satisfaction rate, despite being a car that people complain about the most in terms of having to go to service. So it has a decent, like relatively bad service record, in that you have to take it in a lot. But its customers, despite that, still would rather buy a Rivian than anything else. So I love that about it, and I think that's like a great like check mark of, okay, this is a company where its customers love its products. And then it's coming out with this mass market vehicle with the R2 that has had rave reviews in the handful of people who have had a chance to review it. It looks like it's going to be a major hit, and deliveries start in literally 6 days from now. So next Tuesday is when deliveries start. So that's huge. Then that vehicle is going to start triggering a massive increase in revenue for Rivian, likely 50% annualized revenue increases for at least the next 2 or 3 years, probably much longer. So I love that. You know, who doesn't love a company that's growing revenues at 50% or greater? Um, and then let's see, the amount of technology that this company has, that Rivian has, between its battery technology and electronics technology and software, which we know is electronics and software alone are advanced enough to where the world's number one automaker, VW, set up a joint venture to get access to their software and electronics for building their own EVs. So all of this technology that they have, in addition to AI chips, which they just introduced, and autonomy capabilities that they're building into their vehicles, and the fact that they have the surround cameras that's collecting the second most amount of information after Tesla for the way, to be able to train these autonomous systems, that puts them at a massive technological advantage over any other vehicle except for car maker, except for Tesla. So I love that about it. And then, um, there's this sort of Chinese company risk, which I think is a legitimate risk, in that like Chinese companies might be catching up, or in some cases even surpassing European and American EV makers, because of the amount of investment China has made into their companies. So that is a risk, but I think that US and Europe will have to protect their car industries. Otherwise, it's a serious threat. So I think they will continue to have to make it difficult for Chinese companies to compete on just price alone, which is the sort of like traditional way that Chinese companies have competed. So I think that's not going to be a major risk going forward. And then, when you put it all together, a company that is just worth around 25 billion, as opposed to Tesla being the number one at 1.6 trillion, it just makes it an incredibly attractive investment. So these are roughly the things that I love about it. And then they have so much infrastructure with charging network, over 140 charging destinations. They have 100 service centers, 40 or 50 sales centers, and they own all of them, unlike the traditional car companies. So again, very well positioned. And these are not things that you could easily solve, even if you had access to unlimited amount of money. You still need a decade or longer to set up operations for all of these things. So, yeah.
So my two thoughts on this, because I agree with everything you said in the overall sentiment. I was surprised you didn't mention LiDAR at all, because I do think this is a potential blind spot, pun intended, for Tesla. Um, Assuming that this is going to be a blocking factor to get to deeper levels of autonomous driving. So
Right.
they could actually be ahead in that regard. And
LiDAR
then,
well, let me just comment
yeah,
on LiDAR before you go on to the next point, because LiDAR might be a technological advantage in the future, but we don't know whether or not it's a technological advantage yet, because in Waymo's case, it might be, you might be able to argue, but in Rivian's case, A, they don't have LiDAR in their vehicles yet. And then B, they also don't have full self-driving capabilities to the same level of Tesla yet. So again, that the LiDAR potential advantage hasn't been proven, and therefore that's not like a major reason why I would be very bullish on this on the company because of LiDAR. I'm bullish because of all the tech that they have and the fact that they're building their own AI chip and all this other software and electronics and components that they have built. But
yeah,
LiDAR isn't one of them.
what I think is bullish is not so much the LiDAR itself, but that we know that vision alone has its limitations, and that at least Rivian is trying to solve for that. Um, and like, yes, there is a world where you what why are you laughing?
Well, I mean, when you say we know that vision has its limitations, I'm very careful about what I say about like vision only FS full self driving. I think that like uh,
I'm I'm not
there,
saying
there
you can't have full self-driving with just vision. You definitely can, like humans do it. I'm just
r-
saying there are physical limitations of having strictly vision, which, it's visually hard to see certain things in certain conditions, which is just a
yeah,
fact.
right, right. But yes, okay, but I agree with that fundamentally. But it's unclear. Okay, maybe it's slightly clear because of Waymo being currently superior to robotaxis, but also FSD in Teslas is pretty incredible, because as somebody who uses it on a daily basis, I wouldn't completely discount vision only. I do think that LiDAR will probably give, if for example Tesla also used LiDAR, I think they would be way ahead. And I think this is something that is potentially holding back Tesla to some degree because of Elon's stance
Yeah,
on
that's
vision
what I'm really
only.
getting
Right?
at. It's
Yeah,
the
yeah. So I think
mindset,
we're in a
not the
good.
technology. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other point I wanted to hit on is on the Chinese front. I think my biggest concern is obviously China is innovating at an incredible rate. If they innovate fast enough where their cars are just completely superior to American EVs, that's, I think, going to put a lot of pressure to sell those cars in America, because now it's not just a price difference, it's actually a quality of the product um,
Right.
is better. And that's another big if. That's not, definitely going to happen by any means.
Right, but I think this is where tariffs will come into play, right? Like, it's not that they won't let them sell into U.S. markets; it's that they will most likely tax them so that they have a disadvantage based on their sort of like costs, and some of that is sort of justified because even in a sort of totally capitalistic viewpoint of it, is because China is subsidizing a lot of these EV makers by giving them all kinds of incentives to build EVs, and therefore it gives them an unfair advantage, if you will. Not to mention, labor is so much cheaper in China, and therefore, just shifting that labor cost from the U.S. to China would be a major problem. So, if as lawmakers or as the president or whatever, they would want to allow for um, the car industry to get demolished essentially by not imposing any kind of tariffs on vehicles imported from China, then I think that would not go over well, and that's why I'm not as worried about the sort of China threat as I am about, like, as I would be if, for example, BMW had incredible EVs or something like that, and was building their own charging network and building software that was really impressive. None of that has been the case in every BMW I've seen, for example, or Mercedes or Audi.